Hi, movie story recapped here. Today, I'm going to explain an American fantasy adventure film called Pete's Dragon. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. The opening scene of the film starts with a family going on a trip through the beautiful mountains. Little Pete is reading a book about a puppy named Elliot. A deer runs into the road and causes Pete's dad to swerve the car, causing a deadly accident that kills Pete's parents. Pete wanders out of the car and runs straight into the woods all alone. A pack of wolves come out and surround Pete, but they are scared off by the appearance of a huge green dragon with wings and yellow eyes that saves him. Pete sees the dragon and both seems to have lost parents and start to feel connected. Pete asks the dragon if he is going to eat him. The dragon gently approaches Pete. The boy touches him, and the dragon's fur turns green. He takes Elliot in his paw and flies away with him. It is now 6 years later. Mr. Meacham, who is a well-known man in the city. He is famous for his telling stories to a group of kids. A story about the dragon that lives in the woods. He tells the kids that he has seen a giant dragon in the forest. He is known as the only person who has seen the dragon. This makes the kids look shocked. But nobody takes his story seriously. They just like the story but don't consider it true. His daughter Grace, Bryce Dallas Howard, who is a park ranger, listens in on the story. But still, even his daughter Grace, who happens to have spent her entire age living close to the forest, has never seen any dragon yet. And nor has her fiancé Jack, who is a logger. Also Natalia, her daughter. Pete, now played by Oaks Figley, lives with Elliot in the woods now. He has been living here for 6 years, and that's probably why he has become very used to the animals. He has become exceptional at many skills like surviving, hunting, fishing, and playing with stones. The forest is now his home. One day, Pete catches a rabbit, but a bear lurks behind him. The bear runs away once Elliot shows up. Together, Pete and Elliot fly above the woods. Elliot also has the ability to turn invisible. At night, they sleep in a cave. The next morning, Pete wakes up and hears people talking. He goes down the forest and sees Grace, who is going through the woods doing her job, choosing the trees to be cut down by Gavin, marking them one by one, while Pete observes her from a hiding place. When she's not looking, Pete sneaks by and takes a compass locket out of her bag. Grace thinks she hears something in the woods, but she sees nothing and leaves. A group of lumberjacks led by Gavin are working in the woods, chopping down some trees. Gavin's brother Jack, Wes Bentley, also Grace's fiancé, shows up along with his daughter Natalie, while Grace arrives on the scene. None of them are happy that Gavin is cutting down trees on his own accord. Natalie then sees Pete in the woods and follows him. Pete climbs a tree, and Natalie does the same. She slips and almost falls, but Pete catches her, causing them both to fall. They land on a branch and Pete hangs onto her, but Natalie drops a few feet and gets a scrape. The adults come running by and they discover Pete. Grace is suspicious right away and asks the kid who he is. He runs away, but Gavin catches him as he tries climbing up another tree. Pete falls and bumps his head, knocking himself out. Elliot then wakes up as if to sense something is wrong. He lets out a low groaning sound, which Gavin hears. When Elliot realizes that Pete is missing, he gets worried and starts looking for him right away. He goes out to every corner of the massive forest but couldn't find Pete, and he starts feeling frustrated and disappointed. When he sees the lumberjack crew, he leans on a tree to have a closer observation. Not realizing his strength, he leans too hard on the tree, causing it to crash down to the earth, leaving the Gavin suspicious that he tells his crew, "Let's go hunting." Pete wakes up in the hospital. He is feeling strange and confused where he is now. As the doctors are telling Grace that he's fine, police ask Grace how can this kid be found in the forest? Why is he alone? Meanwhile, he escapes out the window. Pete runs into the streets of the city, going as far as to climb a school bus and hop onto another car. He is eventually found by Sheriff Dentler, along with Grace and Natalie. They take him in. At night, Gavin and his mates go into the woods, fully armed, and want to hunt down the mysterious animal. Elliot kept himself invisible, and that is the reason nobody has ever seen him in the forest. Elliot lurks in camouflage. The men find Pete in Elliot's hideout, causing Elliot to reveal himself. He swipes Gavin's gun as the men make a run for it. Elliot then sneezes on Gavin and gets snot all over him. Elliot doesn't kill any of the men but tries to follow them to the city, looking out for Pete. The men flee the scene as they were all scared to death. Grace brings Pete back to her home. He tries running away again, but Grace promises to take him back to the woods if he just stays the night. Pete is given a real meal for the first time in ages. He tells Natalie about Elliot, which Grace overhears and recognizes as the same dragon her dad told her stories about. Grace then gets a call from the sheriff, who says that they found records of Pete's family having gone missing. Meanwhile, Elliot flies around town and is spotted by people near the hospital. In the dark night, Pete and Natalia are talking about the dragon, Elliot. Pete tells her everything about Elliot. Meanwhile, Grace enters the room and hears the conversation. She then gets close to Pete and asks him to tell her everything about Elliot. Pete shows her the book and the painting. Grace starts to believe the story and gets curious to know more as Gavin with his mates are arguing with Grace's husband about something they saw back in the forest. Gavin is telling him to come with us in order to kill this beast and possibly bring him in. Jack doesn't believe him and says no to him right away. Elliot sneaks in Grace's house and sees Pete with Grace's family. He sees him as they are playing together happily while Pete is reading the storybook. Pete used to read this every night with Elliot before going to sleep. Elliot gets back and flies away to his place. He gets really sad missing Pete. He thought he lost his family member whom he has been protecting for years. Grace, who has now become very curious, takes Pete painting to Mr. Meacham, who was telling stories about a dragon he had seen in his childhood. Grace shows her the painting of Pete, and Meacham all of a sudden matches his painting with Pete on a dragon they had seen. Shockingly, it was very similar. Meacham tells her that when he was a kid, he was wandering around in the forest, and all of a sudden he felt a massive movement of noise and crash. The next day, Pete guides Grace, Natalie, and Mr. Meacham into the woods to find Elliot. Pete runs towards the forest, showing his place to the new family. All of a sudden, the dragon becomes visible, to the astonishment of everyone. Everyone gets scared. Natalia touches Elliot and a moment of relief and laughter can be seen in their eyes. Mr. Meacham is so delighted to have his childhood memories and dreams come true, seeing the dragon at such an occasion. Moments later, Gavin and his men come in and fire a shot at Elliot, tranquilizing Elliot before capturing him. Pete starts shouting, telling them to stop hurting Elliot. Don't kill him. The men keep Elliot sedated and locked up in a warehouse. Pete and Natalie plan the attempt to set him free through the skylight. Natalia sees a corner window side open and tells Pete to go there. They shut the door behind them and start unlocking every knot, and finally Elliot is freed. Elliot tried to fly but has become too weak to fly, but he makes himself invisible. At the same time, Gavin brings the sheriff and other townsfolk to see Elliot. They see the door fully locked. They crash the door, but when they enter the warehouse, he is nowhere to be found. The whole squad can't believe this. Gavin thinks he flew out, but Elliot is just invisible while Pete and Natalie are hiding in the truck, which Grace notices. Mr. Meacham arrives and helps the kids break out of the warehouse. Elliot is exposed, and everyone begins to chase after them. The whole police squad watches out and goes for Elliot, Mr. Meacham, and the kids. Elliot is still too weak to fly, and his attempt causes him to fall hard on the truck and cut off the brake line. Gavin tries to get Mr. Meacham to pull over, but he refuses. Gavin drives up ahead and tries to get them to stop before the bridge. Mr. Meacham is unable to pull the brakes, causing him to slam into Gavin's truck as the men run away. The police are coming in closer. Elliot is now angry, and he runs to the top of the bridge. Pete pleads with him not to do what he's about to do, but Elliot breathes fire down on the bridge to stop the police from advancing. The fire breaks through the bridge and causes the truck to start falling. Gavin attempts to rescue Grace and Jack as Jack breaks the glass in the back. The bridge starts breaking, causing the truck to plummet down along with Elliot. After a tense moment, Elliot flies up with Grace and Jack riding on his back. He brings them to safety, and then flies away with Pete. Pete and Elliot return to their part of the woods. A tree has fallen over their cave, leaving them with nowhere to stay. Pete knows this means they cannot stay there anymore, and it also means they have to leave each other. Pete hugs Elliot, and the dragon comforts the boy. Pete is brought back to Grace, Jack, and Natalie, while Elliot flies away. Sometimes later, Pete and his family eventually go on vacation and see that Elliot is finally reunited with his fellow dragons. The end. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.